Let g be the function with first derivative g prime of x equals square root of x to the third plus x for x is greater than 0. If g of 2 equals -7, what is the value of g of 5?
So I'm going to mimic this formula right here. I have f prime, I have g prime. I have f of b, which I have g of 2, and then I have something of f of a, which is g of 5. So let's all write out the following. This is from the formula chart. G of 5 minus g of 2 is equal to the integral from 2 to 5 of this value over here. And I think I'm just going to write out square root x cubed plus x dx. And then let's plug in what I know so far. We're looking for g of 5. That means I want g of 5 to be by itself. So I'm going to add g of 2 on both sides. Do we all see that? Okay? So I have g of 5 is equal to, we then have g of 2 plus the other side that I'm just going to copy. And what's also nice is, don't we already know what g of 2 is? -7. And then the integral is going to be math 9. So let's all write out math number 9. But before math number 9, we want to put in -7 first. Plus, and then it's all about just typing it in. If it's a calculator portion, you don't need to. Everything in the 70s and on is going to be a calculator portion. And it's going to give us some value in the 13s. Do y'all get 13 point something? 899. So we have 13.899. Done. Now let's go on to number 87. And again, 87 is going to be a calculator portion. It's going to go by pretty fast. 87. Here it is. Okay, on number 87. Timothy, let's read.
At time t 0 less than t less than 2, the velocity.
Whoever's watching the video, I hope they're giggling too.
The x-axis is given by v of t equals t sine t cubed. Let t equals b, the time at which the particle changes direction from moving left to moving right. What is the total distance traveled by the particle during the time interval 0 less than t less than b?
Okay, let's underline total distance. Total distance will always be the absolute value. Always the absolute value. So the particle is moving left to right. So let's kind of think about this. The particle is going up if the velocity is positive. The particle is also going to the right if the velocity is positive. Okay, so right and left. So let's put on here that the velocity is going from negative to positive. So for us to figure that out, we have to go ahead and graph this. And the graph, when you do graph it correctly, it's going to do something like this. And here's velocity at negative and positive. We're looking for this number right here. So I'm just going to simply graph it. I'm not computing anything, so I'm not going to put in the absolute value, just a function as it is. X times sine of x cubed. And because I'm thinking ahead, look at our numbers. Do you see how small these numbers are? Yeah? So I can just go to Zoom 6. It's going to graph a bunch and be quite annoying, meaning we're going to have to modify the window a little bit. Ooh.
But it did the thing.
Uh-huh. So let me go ahead and modify the window big time. On the window, for x minimum, I'm going to put it at 0. And since the highest number is 1.2, why not at 3? Just because. Let's see if the graph looks a little bit better. There we go. So is the graph somewhat behaving in this manner? So we're looking for this guy right here. So we're looking for when it is going from negative to positive. And let's also make y2 0. Unless you have two equations, it's not going to calculate for you. So let's put a little note. y1 equal to, y2 is equal to, and I put 0 on y2. You can put it in 1 if you want. Second calc, the intersect is number 5, and I'm going to hover over to where I want. It's about there, inner 1, 2, and 3, and that number is 1.845. Okay, something unique about the calculator. When you press X on your home screen, it's going to remember the last X value computed, okay? So what I will do is store that number as, let's call it A. Oh no. Store it as alpha A. If you want alpha B, that's fine. So that means anywhere I use the letter A, it's gonna remember 1.845 and so on without being rounded. So then let's write out what we're gonna compute. We are going to integrate from 0 to 1.845. But of course, we're gonna go ahead and say the A instead of 1.845, and then the absolute value of the function. Just like that. So let's type that in. Math 9. We're going from 0 to alpha A, and then our function is going to be the absolute value by saying math absolute value x times sine of x cubed dx. Oops. And this should give you some value of any of the choices given. So for me, it's going to take a while. What would that match to? Choice C.